I'm Boz Baral. I served with the Brigade of Gurkhas for 18 years. I served 15 years in Hong Kong and 3 years in the United Kingdom. And at the moment we're having a discussion here. It's one of a series of discussions which has yielded nothing. Constant discussions but produced nothing. Our main concern is, like for giving example of my own service, I served for 18 years in total, 15 years in Hong Kong, and out of this, from the 15 years, I get only 5 years pension. It's literally 1/3 of my 15 years service is taken into account for pension purpose. And that's not fair. I worked in the banking sector myself after retirement from the Gurkhas. I worked in teaching, I worked in consulting.
So 2 years ago, you mentioned this frustration. 2 years ago, we had the hunger strikes. What happened as a result of that? Do you feel there's been a lack of progress?
Absolutely lack of progress, because they said they will engage in dialogue with us, the Gurkhas, plus the government of the whole. In fact, it's just meaningless discussion. Every time they have a discussion, the output is nothing. It's the same, status quo. So I would be surprised if there's anything today as well.
Of the Gurkha community here, how much do you feel this is about the Gurkhas that retired pre-1997, who have actually never received what would be considered the armed forces pension, as you would have received if you were British born?
Well, anybody whose service is prior to 1997, everyone's getting 1/3 of their service. So here, I think almost 99% of us here are the victim of this situation.
And there's a reputation and a high value put on the Gurkha community within the British Armed Forces. You're seen as fearless on the battlefield. Do you feel like there's a sense of fear for those leaving the service because of the economic conditions they're entering?
At the moment, the terms and conditions are quite different to what we faced in olden days. In olden days, you had a fixed term service as per your rank, but now it's not the case, I think. I'm not quite up to date with the current terms and conditions of service the newer Gurkhas have to face, so I can't say anything about that.
Okay, then finally, what's happening in there now, and what do you hope comes of it?
There is a dialogue between Gurkha representatives, 3 of them, the Nepalese embassy, and the representative from the Ministry of Defence. The Gurkha community is asking for equality in pension, and we hope that will be given. But unfortunately, people who are engaged in dialogue from the Ministry of Defence side, they seem to have done no homework at all. And maybe they're constantly changing, maybe. So they're not really, they can't remember what they said in the last situation, the last dialogue, and they always do the same kind of output. So it's leading us nowhere.
Does all this hassle change the way you view and reflect upon your service and your time with the British military?
Oh, of course, yes. And then now we live, as Britain, as a democratic country, we try to give equality, fairness to the rest of the world. If it's not fair in Ukraine, we said, oh, it's not fair. If it's not fair in Hong Kong, we say, oh, it's not fair in there. But they are not treating their own soldiers who have been serving there for 200 years fairly. So it's kind of a really shameful situation back home, but then they try to look after the rest of the world.
Very finely, sorry to keep you longer. You explained to me off camera just before, you don't think that there is, the understanding is correct, the cost of living differential in Nepal. So you think actually it's not quite what we think it is. It's not quite as cheap to live there, and they wouldn't be millionaires if they were receiving this pension equivalent over there.
Actually, it's quite difficult to survive in the British Gurkha pension in Nepal at the moment, because here we hardly see 10% inflation. I think this is the first time I've seen 10% inflation in the UK in my entire life. But in Nepal, every year, like 20% inflation, almost every month. So if you want to take into account items you buy in supermarkets, Oil is more expensive, cooking oil is more expensive in Kathmandu than in London. Tomatoes and potatoes are more expensive in Kathmandu than in London. So, and the people who are doing engaged in discussion from the Ministry of Defence here, they've probably never been to Kathmandu. They just follow the government bank's statistics, which are all fake. In every third world country, the statistics is manipulated. They want to produce whatever type of statistics they want to produce. So, but if you want to go and buy a steak in Nepal or buy a meal, it's more expensive than in Wetherspoon in London. And a beer is more expensive. A pint of beer would be like £6 equivalent in a nightclub, £10 equivalent in Kathmandu. So it's not cheaper. It's more expensive than London sometimes. Definitely double the price than in cheap part in, let's say, Wales or Scotland, you know.
Well, thank you very much for your perspective.
Thank you very much. Thank you.